Now we want to do a couple of hyperbola problems where we're given information about the hyperbola and we're asked to find the equation. So here is an example. I've already written down the information. The center is at 0, 0, the focus is at 0, 10, and the vertex is at 0, -6, and they want to know the equation. First thing you need to always do for these problems, and actually they also want to graph it. So to even know what kind of hyperbola we're working with, let's go ahead and graph what we know. So the center is at 0, 0, and the focus is at 0, 10, so 0x and y 10. And a vertex at 0, -6. So obviously, I mean, there are two foci and two vertices. They just give us one. But it's pretty clear that, for instance, this vertex, it's going to have to go down, and we're going to have one actually the same. If this was 6, we're going to have one up here. So obviously this is a up or down parabola, or up or down hyperbola. And if the standard equation is the up or down is the one where the y is the positive term. So that standard equation is going to be y minus k squared over a squared minus x minus h squared over b squared equals 1. Now, since these series at the origin, the h and the k are 0, so it ends up just being y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared equals 1. So if I can figure out the values of a and b, then I have the equation. Well, I know a is the distance from the center to the vertices, and I know the distance is 6, so a is 6. So you have y squared over 36. Now b, I don't know directly, but they do tell me the focus at 10, so that means this distance right here is 10, which equals c, and then for ellipses we have that relationship where c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So if I know c is 10, if I square it, that's 100. If I know that a squared is 36, so if you track 36 on both sides, you have b squared equals 64. Then you're going to have b equals 8. Although really all I need is b squared. I don't really need b. So b squared 64. So there is the equation of the hyperbola. Now they want us to sketch the graph. So now that I know b is 8, I can go right here, and then draw my box, my rectangle. And then draw my asymptotes as well as possible. And since this is an up or down ellipse, it's going to be like this. All right. Maybe I'll do another one quickly. This one, the center is at the origin. I always like to do an example maybe where the center is not at the origin. So for this one, the center is at 1, -6. The focus is at 9, -6. You have vertex at. So let's sketch these points quickly, and then we'll probably be able to see what kind of a hyperbola we're going to have. So the center, 1, -6. x1, y, -6. Foci 9, -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. And then it gives a vertex of 8, -6, which I guess is probably right about here. So you can see pretty clearly this is going to have to go like this. So this is going to be a left to right, which means the standard equation for left to right hyperbola is the h term is the positive term. It comes first. Now we know h is 1, k is -6. So x minus 1 squared minus y minus a -6. Now, can I determine a and b? Well, I can determine a. This is from the center to the vertex. The center is at 1, -6. The vertex is at -6. Obviously, it's 7. So if you square that, that's 49. Now, the only way to find b, I do know c. C is, let me make sure I didn't mess up. Okay, 7. Yep, from the center 1 to the foci 9, it's 8. So C let me just write all this down. A, going from the center to the vertex from 1 to 8 is 7. B, well, we don't know B yet. Sorry, let's do C. Going from the center to the focus is going to be 8. So now we have C squared equals A squared plus B squared. 64 equals so subtract 4 from both sides. B squared equals 15, or B is square root of 5. Square root of 15, sorry. So I can get the equation. I'm done with that. But if I want to do the graph, I have to do some work here. So if you grab your calculator, square root of 15, I think is pretty close to 4 maybe. That's like 3.9. So what you do is, here's the center. I need to get my other vertex. So I need to move 7 And then I need to move up and down for B like 4. Not quite 4. Whoops, over here. One, two, three, four. Sorry. Now, drawing these by hand can be tricky and get messy. So since this is a left or right, should look something like that. All right, so that's where you give information and we can come up with the equation and the graph.